Karen's audacity reached an unthinkable level when the HOA blocked my family from entering our own cabin, assuming that her HOA authority, entitlement, and boldness allowed her to dictate access to property I legally owned. She believed that intimidation, aggression, and fabricated control could bend reality to her will. What she did not anticipate was that I owned the mountain the cabin stood on, making her audacious interference not only illegal but completely futile, and turning her scheme into a spectacular public and legal failure. It began on a crisp morning when my family and I drove up to the cabin for a weekend retreat. Snow-capped peaks surrounded the property, and the air was crisp and serene. Karen, ever audacious, had sent HOA enforcers to block the driveway and post notices claiming that we were unauthorized visitors. Her boldness, fueled by entitlement and a history of intimidating neighbors, assumed that fear and aggressive action could prevent us from entering property that was indisputably ours. As we approached, my security cameras captured the audacious blockade, showing Karen's team confidently positioning vehicles and signage to bar access. Her assumption was that mere obstruction, coupled with her alleged HOA authority, could force compliance. What she did not anticipate was that her overreach would collide directly with ownership records, legal reality, and my meticulous preparation. I calmly documented the scene, recording both video and photographic evidence of Karen and her agents attempting to block access. My family remained in the car while I assessed the situation. Karen's audacious behavior, intended to intimidate and manipulate, became the exact evidence that would dismantle her claims in court. When I confronted the enforcers, they claimed they were authorized by the HOA to block my entry. Karen appeared shortly thereafter, yelling from the roadside, demanding we leave immediately. I remained calm, explaining that I owned the mountain, the land, and the cabin, and that no HOA had authority to bar entry. Her audacity, previously feared by other residents, faltered instantly under the weight of documentation, ownership proof, and clear legal authority. Karen attempted to escalate, calling local authorities and making exaggerated claims of trespassing. I had anticipated this, providing officers with deeds, maps, and prior correspondence proving my ownership. The HOA's attempt to assert control over property they did not own immediately collapsed under scrutiny. Karen's audacity, meant to intimidate and enforce control, became the centerpiece of her legal liability. Neighbors and onlookers arrived as word spread. Karen, whose audacious tactics had often coerced and intimidated, now faced overwhelming evidence against her. Every movement, every shouted order, and every attempt to assert control was recorded, creating an unassailable record of her reckless overreach. Law enforcement confirmed that Karen's actions constituted harassment, trespassing, and interference with private property. The audacity she had relied upon to dominate others had become the instrument of her public humiliation, legal accountability, and exposure. Cedar Pines residents witnessed firsthand the spectacular collapse of her previously feared persona. By mid-afternoon, Karen was cited for harassment, trespassing, and obstruction. Her audacious plan to block access to property she had no authority over had failed completely. Legal documents confirmed my ownership, and HOA claims were invalidated. Her boldness, previously intimidating to others, had backfired, guaranteeing consequences, restitution, and public disgrace. Reflecting on the incident, the lesson was unmistakable. Audacity, when misapplied against law, property rights, or proper preparation, collapses spectacularly. Karen had assumed that boldness, aggression, and perceived authority could manipulate reality, but her reckless overreach resulted in exposure, legal liability, and public humiliation. By evening, my family entered the cabin safely, the property secured, and Karen's audacious interference fully documented for legal proceedings. Cedar Pines residents absorbed a vivid lesson. Boldness untempered by legality, preparation, and awareness of consequences collapses under accountability. Karen's bold attempt, intended to intimidate, manipulate, and assert control over property that was not hers to control, had failed completely. Her audacity, once feared, had become the instrument of her downfall, teaching a clear and enduring lesson in the limits of reckless entitlement, aggression, and overreach. Her reckless behavior guaranteed exposure, legal consequences, and lasting public disgrace.